Oops, Todd. Good, bud.
You know which set of papers it's in, since Dottie doesn't want to tell me.
Do not want to.
It's probably in the.
I haven't even opened mine yet.
Educate in that one?
Right here. Well, here's this. This is HSA.
So that has all the blocks on it.
Thank you. So do I need to fill out the rest if I'm declining coverage?
Well, it'd be nice if you put your name at the top.
Yeah, I will do that. I can fill the rest of it if you want.
No, just your name.
Oh, stop. I'm fully capable of ambulatory movements.
Yeah. Mr. Attorney.
We're consistent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you.
Sorry to have troubled you with helping me find things.
Oh, my goodness, you're such a trouble. Yeah, it's a bother.
I don't need it. It's missing one page, obviously.
No, that's great, that'll save me. Take printing later. That's the one.
What, the 16th is the special meeting?
Read that little.
Time when you're ready, Bill.
That's
Yes.
the.
What time?
So that
2 o'clock?
offer it pre-tax.
Okay, I am available.
Don't do pre-tax, you just get it back. You get to deduct it on your. So.
Right. We're on the clock.
We're ready to roll.
So I will call this meeting to order of the DeKalb County Commissioners. The date is June 13th, 2022. You're on board. Go for it, Dottie.
I am, yes. Well, the health plan renewal. The broker was able to get the packets to me on Thursday, sooner than what he had thought. And so we still had to collate a lot of things. And so we have almost everyone delivered. Just a few departments yet to be delivered. 4D was out of the office, and Soil and Water was closed by the time that I got out there. So anyway, we, due to the fact that we didn't get an answer until last Monday, I think we're doing fairly well, but it's going to be a real panic over there in payroll when Teresa gets all the information and gets everybody back into the system. So she will be working very hard to get that. We have, of course, a new HR assistant who's not up on health plan enrollment, so this falls pretty much to me. And Rex. Rex will be in the White Room many times this week. He will be there. Well, actually, tomorrow we're doing a meeting down at the highway at 3 o'clock to talk to all of the employees down there. And then on the 15th, he'll be in there along with the 16th, practically all day. And then on the 17th, and then on Monday, the 20th for stragglers, just in case. And also the 21st, just in case we have anyone who was out of the office or off work this week or last week, parts to get their questions answered. But Teresa is really pushing for the 17th to get everything in. So I think we're working pretty well on that. To add a little monkey wrench to the whole thing, my new assistant has COVID, so we'll be off work for a few days. Hey, it's HR. You roll with the punches. You just roll with it. So anyway, we will get through it. We had 4 onboardings last week. 2 today scheduled. The majority are actually for community corrections, which is very good. Today, we have the new receptionist over at the jail. What they ended up doing was they promoted Tara from the front desk to that records clerk position and then hired a new receptionist. So she starts today, so I will do her orientation at 9:30. And then we have somebody else from Community Corrections at 11, I believe. So that's a good thing out there at Community Corrections. They're getting quite a bit. We're still a little light on confinement officers for the jail. So please keep talking that position up. And I do believe they're down about, at least 10 positions, I think, over there. Maybe not all of them in the jail, but they're still having issues. Jim Banks is going to have a job fair in July at PFW. And so Community Corrections and the jail has the information. So if they would like to attend that, we need to make a reservation quickly for our booth. And Michelle out at Community Corrections is contemplating. And I know the jailers are going up the chain of command to see if that's going to be possible for them to attend that. Every time you get out, you get the word out. So hopefully that'll work. I do believe this week the Extension Office is going to do, I think, 3 in-person interviews for their full-time clerk position. And we don't have too many more really open positions. The, the new 911 dispatcher starts today. So her orientation was done last week. And then we also have a case manager for Community Corrections who will be starting next, I think it's actually the 22nd or the 23rd. So we haven't done her orientation yet either. But things are moving, things are slowing down. In almost all departments except for the jail. Let's see. Big news, of course, has been, or the big discussion, last week asked about the employee survey to talk about the possible change in hours for our employees. And Mike Watson came up with quite a few questions, and Jack is working on figuring out Survey Monkey so that we can do something. So hopefully you guys will, agree that the questions that Mike came up with are good ones, things that we want to know, things that we need to know, and also, these are more things that you ask during a stay interview. You've all heard about exit interviews, but stay interviews are have rather been big lately, where you ask employees, why are you staying? Why are you here? What causes you not to leave? Things like that. And so I think Mike did come up with some questions that will give us some insight on that.
On that very subject, the one question I think shouldn't be in there is, do you prefer the present 7-hour workday? I think that will skew the survey. Obviously, I believe they would prefer the 7-hour workday with more pay. That's going to be the general consensus. That's not the purpose of the discussion in my mind. It's how do we make the courthouse, the service more efficient, and that would only include more hours. So I think that one particular question should be left out.
Okay, that would be in the first batch about no change from the current work week?
Right.
Obviously, I disagree, but, we're trying to find out what people think. They should, and maybe that'll get written in at the bottom under the comments.
Maybe, yeah, with the comments. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. So anyway, there's been an awful lot of discussion about this topic, and I think you guys are going to be discussing it tomorrow with council. So I will be here to listen and to be available for any questions that anybody might have about that. Once again, I will say that taking things away is going the opposite direction of everything that is in SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management, that's national and international, and also the local Northeast Indiana Human Resource Association, of which I'm a member of both, and also the cities and counties network that I'm a part of. Everyone is having a problem recruiting, and so they are asking the questions, okay, what do we need to do to entice employees to come on board? What do we need to do to keep our good employees? Hopefully they are good employees. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that this is really totally, we're salmon spawning upstream the wrong way.
Not only is opposite of those everything you just mentioned, it's virtually every employer in the country, certainly in this region. So.
Yeah.
I was going to make that same point. Everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah.
So how far do we go? I mean, do we go what the taxpayer is going to realize as an increase in what we are going to present to our employers? In other words, are they going to get the same increase in wage that we're willing to give our employees, or the same increase in benefits? So I think we got to be very careful and mindful of what the taxpayer is going to realize out of this whole situation as we move forward.
I think the trend is with virtually every employer in town, and I talk to them all the time, they're all doing those same things. And I quite frankly think there is a tendency to misread the attitude of many of the taxpayers in the county. I think that people are interested in getting good service for the taxes they pay.
Well, I
And
agree.
they understand that sometimes you have to pay a little extra to get the service you want. And I think you would find people would rather maintain a high level of service from the courthouse than they would to cut services by people leaving or situations like that.
One other thing we need to consider is if we, certain offices go to that 8-hour workday, we need to, our PTO will be increased because people will be accruing that at 8 hours and not at 7 hours. Also, the fact that if they work over 40 hours in a work week, any hours worked over that will be time and a half. So there's a possibility that more overtime may be incurred at time and a half. You know, when we say overtime, you know, there's so many of the offices that are at 7-hour work days, and they work 35 hours a week. Well, that 5 hours up to 40 is straight time. And so that then any hours over 40 would be time and a half. So
I think we're all aware of that. But I think the one thing we have to consider, and that is floaters. In other words, people would be cross-trained in different departments and therefore utilize them where it's needed instead of thinking, well, we got to work overtime. No, you use the floater to pick up that slack. And that will help with that overtime situation. I don't think the overtime situation is going to exceed what we pay in benefits. So, you know, it may be a equal.
it may be a
tit for tat.
wash.
So it may wash.
Yep.
I certainly agree with the cross-training and being able to cross department lines to work where you're needed.
Yeah.
That's just
I think we all
an
agree.
efficient way to do things.
Right, right.
The other thing that you have to think about is if you do switch to 8, if you're going to do anything for the current 7-hour people for their PTO, because they've only accrued it as 7 hours. So if you switch to 8 and then you require them to use 8 to get a full day's pay, that will not seem to be fair because
No, it's in hours.
it's in hours.
I understand that, but
So
I
they're.
will change it to make it a full work.
I understand it's not an issue, but it will be an issue for the employees because they have to view it all in hours because they're hourly. And we, payroll.
As in payroll,
We
yeah.
have to switch all that.
That's what it is. I don't think.
Certainly going to be an issue for council from a
Right.
budgetary standpoint.
Yes, yes. So are you saying that those individuals who have accrued their PTO at 7 hours, you would convert all of those hours, you'd add? Yeah? Or start when the 8 hours? Yep. Yep.
Holiday thing. Either way you say, go out in the private sector. So the people get a perception and doesn't look at their, spending because we got tax money. All of our employees, I want them to have a good life, but I want them to get paid more up front and them decide what to do with their money, not us micromanaging. That was my only.
But maybe that's not what they want.
Well, you know what, it's time this country.
Well, maybe you ought to run for federal office.
Since we've jumped over into the holidays, 2 counties really jump off of this sheet. We got, you notice which counties those are? Those are Allen County and Elkhart County.
We didn't
10
jump
paid-
off the seat. What do you mean by jump off the sheet?
They
The
have 10
numbers.
paid holidays.
Yeah. The spreadsheet that Susan provided to us
Yeah.
last week.
So Allen County
I couldn't get
has
it all to
10
print
paid
out.
holidays. So how are they keeping employees? They're paying them more.
That's my point. I think we
That's your
should pay our
point.
employees
It's
more.
been your point all along.
Stick it in their pocket and let them decide what
So
to
how
do.
are they doing? That's my question. You know, there it is.
Yep.
10
Here's
paid
something
holidays.
else that that some counties do, that if a person leaves a public sector job and comes to work for them, any of the time that they spent in those other public sector jobs are credited to that new employee when it comes to their paid time off. So if you have somebody who worked at DeKalb County, worked for 5 years, and they go to Allen County or Fort Wayne, they would get credit for those 5 years working in a public sector job. So they would start out with 5 years worth of PTO at whatever that schedule is at that other, at Fort Wayne or at Allen County.
3 weeks, I believe, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember what our
Yeah.
5 years are, but yeah. So then that's where they would start. We don't have that. Lita just had an employee who left Allen County and is working for her, and I think that person had worked for Allen County for 7 years, and so starting here, she starts off with 0. Because we don't have that sort of system in place. But I have filled out a form several times for employees when they go
Question.
there. Yeah.
Did you get a payout from Allen County on her PTO?
Payout?
Yes, when she left Allen County. Did they
I-
pay her for her PTOs that she hadn't used?
I don't know. I didn't ask that. Yeah.
It'd be a question to
I don't know.
ask.
Yep.
Think.
So the other thing on these that I don't know, and I'm just bringing it up to think about, is I don't know what those two counties have for their insurance versus what we have. Could be
There's so many
another.
scenarios
Yeah,
here
there's multiple little
that we
ones
don't
that-
know. and when
Oh,
you add it
so
all
many. They're all
together-
so different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they are. Yeah. We're not exactly comparing apples to apples when it comes to a lot of those counties.
We may be, we may not be, but we don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We don't have all the
Wow, yeah.
data.
Well, I can easily get a copy of the Allen County benefit program,
Yeah.
compare it.
You know, what's her PTO, what's her days off, vacation and so forth. It all adds into the equation of total compensation.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, they all do. And
Anyway,
so,
moving forward.
Anyway, yeah, big topic to discuss, and so, but I will be here tomorrow to be available. So let's see. Our big focus this week will be getting everybody's paperwork in to take care of the health plan. Very important because it has to be, Teresa has to have it in payroll, so do that. I will tell you, we had a really good week. Thank you for having Lauren and Lindsay and having that overlap. Even 4 days was really helpful. And Lindsay asked a lot of questions, and Lauren was able to impart so many things. The part of our issue will be the fact that through the last 3.5 years, Lauren was given more responsibilities as more things came on my plate from council and commissioners, and as Lauren kept growing. So Lindsay isn't there, after 4 days of training, that's for sure. So I'm taking back, a lot of things that Lauren did, but we will see about providing, Lindsay with more opportunities and as she grows in that position. So Anyway, that's kind of the focus. We've got onboardings to do also, and I told Ben I would talk very quickly because I know he's supposed to be here at 9. So anyway.
If you run over, that's a little bit, that's
What else
fine.
do you guys have for me?
Todd? Mike?
Okay.
Nothing more.
Okay.
Did Lauren fill out a separation form?
You mean an exit interview?
Yes.
Yes, she will do that. Yeah.
She has not done it yet.
No, I haven't received it yet.
Okay.
But that is one thing that we always do. We send out the exit interview asking people, why are you leaving? And try to find out a lot of information. So, yeah, yep. We did get one from the cook who will be leaving the jail when the turnover happens with the company that's coming in to work the kitchen over there at the jail. And she seemed to have it was fine. Everything was fine. It's just she's leaving because of the situation that they're just changing the way that they're going to provide meals. So, yep. Anyway,
Okay.
you guys knew about that, right?
I did have one interesting thing just to mention.
Oh, okay.
City of Auburn had an opening for an apprentice at the electric department. No experience, comparable job skills. They had 62 applicants.
Yeah. How much were they paying?
I don't know. I didn't pull up the job
Is it
description.
lineman job?
No.
Oh.
Well, it's an apprentice.
As a lineman?
As
Apprentice in the electric department is how it was listed.
okay.
Lineman
Yeah.
But there's
position.
no experience requirements or anything.
Yeah.
Susan? Anything for Dottie? Jim?
No, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yep, got it. Right. Thank you. All right, great, yay. Well, okay, that's 3 so far. No, really, truly. I have an email box full because we were able to deliver them last week, so. And look who's here, Ben.
Mr. Ben?
Good timing. Yay.
Ben?
All right, got the seat warmed for you. All righty, see ya.
See you down.
Bye-bye.
Know where I'm living.
Morning, Ben.
Morning.
Good morning.
Got you in here kind of early, didn't we?
She did. Susan requested that. Looks like somebody's gonna clean their folder out. Yeah, I got a few things for you guys this morning. One of them is a extra heavy-duty weight permit for Ericsson Incorporated. They are wanting to move a transformer from the substation location AEP's got on County Road 55 behind SDI. They're wanting to move, they moved this, you guys wasn't here, Bill was. In 2020, they moved it from the railroad spur behind Buggy up 47 to 48 to 55. They moved 2 of these. Well, they had plans for both of them. My understanding is that the plans for the second one, they didn't do, and they left the unit there as a spare. Well, now they've got a unit down up in Michigan and can't get one, so they want this spare up there. So moving forward, they're gonna purchase another spare and put it at their rail yard in Fort Wayne, where they got a spur that goes into it for a laydown yard. I guess I should say laydown yard. So their extra unit will be placed back there when and if they get one. But in the meantime, this one's sitting there on 55 and they want to move it out. So he contacted me. I went through the specifications of the equipment. It's basically identical to what Edwards did in 2020. We got a bridge there on 55. They're going to jump that bridge with the jumpers like they did last time.
What do you mean by jumpers?
It's basically a bridge that they're going to lay on top of a bridge. So that thing's got steel beams that will span over the bridge, and then it's got little ramps that go up to it. So 55 will be closed for that day, for them to come in, set that up,
Is that so they don't hang up on the bridge,
or they don't drive on the bridge.
So they don't drive on?
Yeah, this thing's like 600,000 pounds.
Oh, now I understand.
It's got 40 axles on it.
Okay.
Give you a little, if you want to see what it looks like here.
What does that do does that harm the road? I know it's
It ain't
light.
good on it.
It's light, I mean, just one time, but 600,000, I mean, that's what a
That is
747 weighs.
That is a mobile unit that's got its own engine on the front. They walk along the side of it with a remote control. All them axles turn.
No kidding.
It's quite the unit, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Spreads it out per axle, it's not good, but it's not
Okay.
it's not as bad as a 600,000 pound sound, but it's
Yeah.
not, if the roads are settled, packed in like they are now, it's not too bad. In springtime, it's not good at all.
I mean, anytime they run that amount of weight, spaced out or not, on like 47's got a lot of peat.
Does
It's
it?
gonna roll that road, it will. I went through and I required all the same information as we did back in 2020. I've got a certificate of insurance, and I also requested another $1 million bond. They sent me the email where they requested the bond, but I have not seen it yet. So I would like, if you guys are okay with it, approve this today, contingent on receiving the bond, and then they can proceed, because they want to do this the week of the 20th. It'll be next Monday that week. So that way they know they'll be okay once they get us the bond. It'd be nice to have that on hand,
What year was it they moved?
2020. I think it was September 2020, Edwards moved it. For whatever reason, they got the price moving it out, or the bid moving it out. And then I can send that bond off to Jim as well as soon as I receive it, and that way he can take a look at it. But the permits, a duplicate, what I did to Edwards, wording, liabilities. Like I said, everything was identical to Edwards, just with Ericsson's name on it.
It's Ericsson, Erikson.
Ericks
Ericsson's.
Incorporated.
Thank you.
I can scan all this to you too, Susan, if you like.
This mobile moving unit seems kind of contradictory to me. They've got these lashing chains from down an angle. To me, when they tighten them up, they're gonna lift the wheels on each end, take the weight off them, pull down on that unit that's in the center. It's gonna actually overload the center wheels. Is there a way they compensate for that?
The way that thing's designed and built,
It will
it
distribute that.
distributes that whole weight.
It does it in a hydraulic.
That and then the steel plating that hooks all that together. Only thing I can tell you is when it's here, go out and look at it, because it's impressive.
Yeah.
Do the wheels all individually steer on it?
At the same time, it's got to follow any,
Yeah, it does, because that
Anything in
thing
the
stays
road.
level. So as the road goes down,
Like a cat.
that all, everything moves on it. That's why I said it's impressive.
It don't go real fast then, does it?
no.
Well, I imagine it's probably got a road speed, but I imagine it probably don't go over 10 miles an hour, so.
That would be a hugely expensive move.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because like I said, when they moved that in, they walked from that spur rail at Buggy to that location.
Really?
Walked alongside of it, and they gotta have police escorts. They gotta go down the center of the roadway. I mean, that thing's big, and wide enough, nobody's gonna get around them anyway. So they'll have to have an escort.
Load per axle, 56,381. That's a lot,
That's a lot.
a lot. Yeah.
The small structures we have on 47, I've got them gonna plate those. We'll steel plate them on the road. They should be fine. I mean, the one's shallow, the other two, got a little bit of cover, but the problem of it is that there's no way to engineer or to get a load rating on them tiles because they're old. So, just to protect them and to protect us, I required them to steel plate it, and they was okay with that. When Edwards did it, we only steel plated, I think, 2 of the 3. Hard that third one to be done. Just safer. But that's that. If you guys don't have no problem with it, once we get the bond.
Have a motion?
Make the motion to allow the overweight permit.
I'll second. Didn't we decide to have a permit fee associated with that at some point?
Some point, whenever we get
Talked
the
about
ordinance
that.
done.
We've
and
talked, yeah.
Yeah,
We need to
We
probably
gotta
get on
have,
that.
we gotta have an ordinance to back the fee.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but considering the amount of work you have to put into those to
It took a little while, yeah.
do those, I think,
I sent that bridge jumper to Mike O at USI just to make sure that it was legitimate, and he was satisfied with it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, and I think we need to add contingent on that bond, receiving that bond. So any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Next thing I have, I made a copy for each of you, then I've got the colored copy here for Bill to sign and have to be notarized. This is from Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Company for the Donnie Holbrook. He's the insured. He's the gentleman that drove the farm tractor and disc down our county roads and rolled the micro seal up on County Road 40. They want to send a payment for that, for the quote that I submitted, along with the claim to Pavement Solutions, I think was for $9,500. I didn't bring that with me, but I think that was the number.
I think so.
But as you can see, this is their release of damage and additional liability to receive payment. So when I had that quoted, they felt that was more than sufficient funds to cover the damage along 40. So I'm okay with accepting the funds at this time if you guys are. So I read through this. It seems like a standard form, but I wanted to bring it for you guys had it. Give Jim a chance to look at it as well.
Is that the one from the Conrad Braun?
No. that
That's
one's
a different one?
That's a different one.
Okay,
Conrad
then.
Braun's the one that's 11A.
Yeah.
This is 40A, where he drove the tractor and disc down several of the county roads and rolled the asphalt up.
As long as you're getting compensated for the damage that was done, I'm not gonna have any problem with it. They're gonna pay you a check or they're not gonna, you know? And, it's contingent on them making payment, I'm fine with it. And I do have a response, there is an insurance company for Conrad Braun.
Right.
And they're gonna get in touch with me this week to discuss making payments. Are making the payment, not in installments. It's American Family Insurance is the insurance company.
And that's the guy that struck the light pole.
Yeah.
That pole's still on order, FYI.
Is that steel or,
Aluminum.
that's what I meant, it's a metal.
Yeah, we couldn't salvage much off of it. I think the arm was the only thing that got salvaged off of. The new light head, new LED light head was busted and the pole's gone and
What's the name of the one who did the damage on that one?
on 40,
Yeah,
the name of the guy was Donnie Holbrook.
Okay.
I just gave it to you.
Oh, thank you. Got it.
So this is to be signed and notarized. So if you guys are okay with it, I'm okay with the amounts. If you guys are okay with the release form and with moving forward with releasing Farm Bureau for any other damages from that incident.
What do you think, guys?
Good with it?
Todd, can you move your mic closer to you,
Yep.
please?
Hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right.
I'll move, we accept the payment and release and president to sign.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
That's the colored copy there, Bill, if you'd sign that one for the
Sign that one.
official one. And if Jim's okay to notarize that, it'll have to be notarized.
Yeah, and I'm okay with the release, by the way. Yeah, that's standard. You're gonna get that. They want a general release for anything, and we're not aware of anything else. We would have pending that they're
There
insuring.
was an apprentice lineman on the job training, 22 to 30 an hour. Apprentice lineman.
Yeah, apprentice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tough job. That's hard work.
That's all weird.
Yep.
Boy, is there.
You know, they brought Stu Tuttle.
What you got next, Ben?
I've got a design release, or excuse me, a level 2 design exception for Butler Fairman Seifert for County Road 56. They sent this to me last Friday. We had a conference call and discussed this. This is more on the western end of the project down along where the AEP has their transmission poles. What they do when they go through and design this road, this road's designed from a state Indiana NDOT specifications. So when they do these roads, this road's gonna be designed as a 55-mile-an-hour road. So they got what they call a clear span off the edge of the roadways, which on this one it's calling for 24 to 30 feet. Well, in order to do that and get the clear span, we'd have to inquire more right-of-way. So that'd be buying more right-of-way, possibly looking at moving the utility pole or the transmission poles. They kind of broke it down for additional right-of-way, 40,000. Storm sewer, they had figured in there 312, side ditches, 50,000, relocating utility poles, 1,600,000 for a total approximate estimate just over $2 million. Unless we do the design exception. So we're gonna shorten that footage up from the required 24 to 30. It looks like it would be about 15 foot. I'm looking at this right. Which is fine. We can do that. It don't have to go through NDOT because it's a level 2. If it was a level 1 design change, it would have to be approved by NDOT as well. You know, with the money savings on this, thank you, Susan. I don't think it's gonna be that big of an issue. There's still a right-of-way zone there. There's still a clear zone. We just won't have the 24 to 30 feet, which is the design standard. But I think with the money savings, it's justified. But I wanted to bring it up to you guys as, for your recommendation as well. If we choose to acquire the right-of-way and move utility poles, we're going to lengthen the project out and also acquire a lot more money. So this was sent for me to sign, but since it was that design change, I felt that it ought to be brought to the council or the commissioners for your guys' approval as well, or if you had concerns, we could see about addressing them. I've got the drawing here if you want to look at the change. You can kind of see where it's calling for the 24 to 30, it'd be clear off to the right, and you'll see the line that they're proposing will be the new right-of-way line. So it should have been done earlier on. Should have been caught, I think, but nobody's perfect either.
Yeah.
As you design and move forward.
I mean, well, it shows on there how many poles are involved. Just the one?
No, there'd be several poles down.
There's several down through there.
Yeah, there'd be more than one. I don't have a pole count on there. That's just kind of showing the edge of the roadway to the right of way where the four slopes would be. And we're gonna do a 4-to-1 slope on it. You know, we've got some a lot less than that.
Right.
And it's not like it's on a curve or a hill or anything like that. I mean, there is a slight little curve right there, just coming off of 327 going east. It's gonna curve, it's gonna stay pretty much where it's at, and it's gonna curve a little bit to the north, because we inquired most of the right of way onto the north to alleviate messing with them transmission poles. But if we would go any further to the north, we would end up purchasing the whole Howard property instead of just the right of way, the way we've done it, so.
Yeah. We got a pole out here at 35 and 48 that's literally, what, 3 feet, 4 feet off the roadway? Yeah.
Well, they did transmission poles on 40A and 47
47.
on that curve that I tried getting them to move it. I'm really surprised it hasn't been hit, because a lot of people run off there in the winter.
Yeah.
And I went out and measured it, and it is off, I mean, within inches, without having a survey done of the back of our right of way. So we've got roughly 10 feet off the edge of pavement, and it's right there. For these, it's gonna be a little further back, and it's on a straightaway section. I think it will be fine. Meeting with Butler Fairman Seifert last Friday, I had a video conference with them. They felt okay with it, but they have it for us to sign off of and accept that design exception.
And is that AEP?
Them poles would be, yes.
Okay. And because they're ones that we were asking to sell, or for us to purchase for the right of way.
But we're on the north
Is this
side.
changing what the right of way is, or
No.
we're still doing that one? Because I've gotten verbal commitment from the guy who's in charge of Indiana and either Ohio or Illinois. He said was gonna take him 6 weeks to get it done. This is about 2 weeks ago, because he had so many people that had to sign off. But as long as he was fine with it, they were gonna sign off.
That property, Jim, is on the north side of 56. That's their laydown yard. So yeah, we
Okay.
still need to do that. This one would be the south side further
And that's
west.
fine, I just wanted to make sure I had it clear before, because I expect to hear from this gentleman within the next couple of weeks.
And these poles here is another instance where AEP, they are in AEP's right of way that they own. I mean, they bought, I should not, the right of way, it's their property that they bought on the back side of the county right of way. That's adjacent to ours, so it's like a marriage right there. They do that so they can work on our roads and still service their poles, but yet they're on their own property.
Right.
So they did acquire that when they put those in. That was done, I think, 2014 and 2015. They did that up 327, come down 56 to
Yeah.
that location.
There were 4 different things I got for filing a lawsuit for appropriation of property. And that one was Breckville Farms. I was a little bit surprised. I called and talked on 2 or 3 occasions to Sarah Delbeck, who is the resident agent, and I never got a response. So I went ahead and filed a lawsuit. I would still hope we can get that one settled. But I don't know. She may be just looking for extra money. But the one of them I couldn't find was a lady by the last name of Smith. I ended up finding out through other attorneys in town. David Cruz's office had represented him at one time. Eleanor Smith was her name. But her son has a legitimate power of attorney to sign on her behalf. His name is Wayne Smith. He has assured me that he's going to sign it. I talked to Ron Francis, who was in charge of that stuff for BFNS, and he said he wanted to send a new set of documents that on their type of form that authorized somebody with, and as an attorney, in fact, to do it. Wayne is in the middle of planting, or he was when I left a couple of weeks ago. And the first rainy day he gets that is going to take him out of commission, he's supposed to stop at the office. And I need to check on the status if we've gotten that from Ron yet or not. But so
That could be a situation with Sarah too. They've been awful busy.
yeah, and that's fine.
Let me get the particulars on that at break, and I'll see if I can get some information from her for
She
you.
has been served.
Yeah,
You know, we want all this to be amicable
Yeah.
for all of our taxpayers in the county, and she's the only one that we may have to follow through on litigation unless she agrees. And it's very little on the taking. BFNS did a good job of avoiding having to have too large a parcel of property for anybody. And so with AEP now and Wayne, and another one got settled on our recommendation. It got settled through Ron Francis, not through me. So Breckville Farm should be the only one.
yeah. I can't imagine Sarah or Phil
I
wanting to
totally
litigate
agree
this
with
thing,
me on
so
that, Mike. I do.
I'll see if I can maybe help
Anything.
grease that a little bit.
I welcome any help I can get on any of this stuff.
Okay. All righty, we are back to the right-of-way. I'm fine with it. You guys want to make a motion to?
Motion, okay, me to sign this?
I'll move that we go the least expensive route on this, which is as Ben has outlined.
Yeah, we don't need any more cost on this project.
And Ben,
And I think it's going to be fine. There's a lot of other situations it's worse.
yeah, I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, the same. Motion carries.
I get this signed and get sent back to BFNS today. You know, we are deviating from the design manual, but there's still significant right of way there. I'm not real concerned, I think.
Well, like you say, they're going 55 mile an hour and they skid off that road, or 60 mile an hour. 10 more feet probably isn't going to make that much difference.
No.
Only gonna make a difference if they go off where there's a pole.
Yeah. It's just,
Other than that, they're gonna have,
yeah.
well, that's anywhere on our county roads.
Those poles are spaced pretty far apart. It's not like there's a whole
They're
continuous line of them.
further than your standard service
Right.
poles. I don't know what the distance is,
Yeah.
but, then they started calcium chloride today.
Oh, good.
They come early.
Hope it don't rain.
Well, there were some changes, I guess, what the driver told me. In LaGrange County, they are only spraying intersections. They're not spraying in front of all the homes no more. And they're doing LaGrange County last. So typically LaGrange was before us, so we got moved up another county, so that's why they're here. Yeah, so LaGrange is, if that holds true, is cut substantially.
What's the money we spend on that? At present, what do we have? Susan, can you tell us, or Ben?
That's what,
What we spend on
Dust
calcium
control.
chloride? The commissioners pay for that.
this year, that is all coming out of the 900,000 that you give me. So I set aside that amount.
Oh, really? I didn't remember that.
That's what you told me to do with it, yeah,
That's 200,000
roughly.
or, yeah.
I could go back, well, the price changes each year and the quantities change each year, but I could go back through the last couple of years and see what, last year's kind of inadequate because they had a malfunction with their distributor, but the prior year was a good number quantity-wise. And then, you know, there's a lot of homes being built and things the last 2 years, you could add some more on. But yeah, that's what I was directed to do with it this year, so.
I would hate to discontinue that service. I mean, LaGrange, horse and buggies don't stir up much dust.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
that's what.
I agree. I think that's, it's important for us to make.
I'm not asking you, I'm just
maintain
telling you why they was here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a benefit, guys. The people in the county, I think a majority of the people really appreciate the calcium chloride.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it does help, you still get dust. But when you go, you know, you can watch it, you know, you can see the dust roll, and when it hit the calcium, you just get a little fine dust lay across the ground. It does help.
And I also think we need to follow through, if possible, with what we're going to do for County Road 45, that 2-mile stretch. And every household gets 200 feet. Whether they're crossing each other or not, if they're crossing each other, they get 400 feet total. And that, we don't know what that is going to, how much that will increase it. But we do have to figure out how we're going to pay for that.
I'd like a more uniform policy regarding that everyone gets the same treatment instead of just,
Yeah,
yeah,
Makes perfect sense.
I think everyone should get the same treatment there.
paying the same
And what was
taxes.
that? What'd you say? 200 feet?
In front of each home, 200 feet, regardless if they're side by side. Right now, if there's two houses side by side, they might only get,
Or across.
or across the street, they only get 200 foot, because, oh, you're there and you're there, so only two. We're saying two houses, 400.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Because we got houses that will, you know, in the county, they're set side by side and got a shared drive even.
yeah.
Right.
So now that would be 400 feet. You know, short of going through Beacon or Google Earth and looking at every road, I can't
Yeah.
tell you what additional it would be.
No, and we'll know when they're done by the gallons.
It'll show up on gallons,
It's
yeah.
going to, we pay
You know
by the
that,
gallons.
the other thing too, I was talking to Mark about, if you guys are in agreeance, I don't know if you want to set a footage number or if you want to let it happen or not. If we got a property here and a property here and we leave 80 to 100 feet in the middle, the problem with that is when we go out and then we grade that, we're going to drag that back up on the calcium. There ain't no way around it. Do we spray that?
In between,
I mean, I
yes.
don't know, we have in the past in areas it's short, it just makes sense to.
I think up to 100 feet, we spray it.
I think that's a good number.
That's what I was thinking this morning, I'm close, right around, give or take a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
We spray it. Because there's, like I say, there's no point in leaving that a little bit and dragging it.
Well, by the time you shut the valve off, turn it back on anyway.
Yeah. And,
But I mean, it's, the more we spray, it's more money, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously.
yeah,
And we know where our budgets are at, but, you know, we do give a lot, we do put a lot of gravel on each year and do a lot of calcium. The gravel roads are havocsome, they are, they're dirty, they're dusty, and I think people appreciate it. I hope they appreciate it, because it's a lot of money we invest.
I think they do too. I think you're absolutely right.
any ideas on where we pay out of?
You told me last week, I thought 64. Right? Lighted 64?
Or, yeah, well, that's highway department operations, so we would have to shift that from another account into highway operations, because there's only 900,000 in that account, allocated to that account, so.
So really, he would pay out of there because that's
Yeah.
where our highway is, and then come later in the year, then I would just work
We
with you
just have to
guys
make
and
a-
let you know where you could transfer
Make a
it to make
transfer,
it.
yeah.
I'm okay with that. You guys are.
Okay.
I'll try to keep tabs as best as we can what that extra is. I tried to explain it to the guys a little bit this morning, what I thought we was gonna do. Try to track that footage wise outside of the norm. See how that goes.
Motion? We do a motion on this,
Yeah.
for the record. obviously.
So I will, let's see, how I want to phrase that. I will move that we adopt a dust control policy that would put down 200 feet per house and cover distances between homes also of 100 foot or less.
I'm good.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Now, between the homes, just clarify, that is only if it's going to meet the next spray.
Right, yeah.
Because I don't want to do that and then add another 100.
No, no, no,
Right.
no.
I knew that, but I
That is
wanted to
the-
make sure that
That
we.
is the intent of the motion.
So we do the 100 feet between and 100 feet on each the other side of the driveway. Okay.
I told the guys this morning, so if we got a home here and here, use their best judgment where to apply that at.
Yeah.
Because, depending on where the driveways are at.
Right.
If it's more on the west side, spray more there, that's where the wind's gonna carry it. Or, so use their best judgment, because
Right.
you can't go to every home and knock and say, where would you like this sprayed?
Yeah.
We try our best to get it
Yeah.
the most beneficial that we see for the resident.
And we couldn't go out the tape measure and measure all this. It's going to be some,
Yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be some, by the time you shut valves off, it's gonna straggle a few extra feet here.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the way it is.
A lot of Kentucky windage in this,
but it's going to be an increase, and I think it's a good
Oh,
good
yeah.
policy.
Put
And
dust down.
in the end, we do benefit soil stabilization out of it. You see it now when we go out and scrape where the calcium's laid. It's hard, guys. I mean, it is. Unless, even when there's moisture out there, you still know it. When you hit calcium,
Okay.
it makes it hard.
Good.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I have for you guys today.
Anything for Ben, Todd,
Good.
Mike?
Nope.
I got one thing. Sherwood Drain, it's the drain that comes up to County Road 23.
North of 6?
Yeah, north of 6. At the Drainage Board meeting, Mike's working on that plan, on that design. He wants to upgrade that tile. There'll be a structure on both sides of County Road 23, which would be on the highway's dime. Usually, as he said, they won't be that expensive, but that would be highway responsibility. That's normally what we do, right? It's in the right of way.
In the road right away.
Yeah. But he's not saying that the highway should, he just throwed an idea out at us. Would the highway pay for the upsizing of the tile to take that additional water that's coming down that road? And I told him, I said, the highway's in the same situation as everybody else. They're pinching for money, everything's going up. I said, we'd run it by you. I don't know that.
I guess the thing I don't understand, Bill, and this is your guys' domain, I want to help with drainage as much as we can.
Yeah.
We all need it, the roads need it, the residents need it. But the highway, we pay drainage tax every year. So I'm already paying drainage tax for drainage.
Right.
Then I maintain the drainage along the roads, the ditches and everything where I'm paying taxes for to drain anyway. I don't understand, it just seems like we give.
Well,
But it needs done, and I don't want to split hairs over it, but I just don't understand that. We're paying into that drain, if it needs upsized to take what we're already paying into, they ought to pay it to get it the size we need.
yeah. Well, in addition to that, and the idea was to lower the per acre assessment, which is around $700 and some, I think. And assessment is what an assessment is. And pretty much, and we've had other drains where we've been in that range as far as assessment, $600, $700, $800. So it's not totally unusual. I think the total he had figured was 30-some thousand, 36, 37,000 additional
Yeah.
that he was, and like I say, he was very, he was not pushing it. It was just a suggestion. I'm not in favor of it personally. I think the assessment is the assessment, and that's the way it should stay.
'Cause I think if I'm thinking right, it's going to help them residents in that watershed from the taxpayers' money.
Oh, yeah.
So like up in your area, unless you're tied into the county highway drain, we don't pay into it, you're gonna pay the same assessment that they would if I didn't pay the upsizing. But we all pay in that drain fund, it ought to be distributed equally. I mean, we've got a lot of other drainage issues in the county that we need to kind of keep our funds free for as well.
Right.
But that's, you know, I don't understand the drainage tax that we pay, and then I pay in the drainage tax, but yeah, if it's under my road, I still gotta pay to dig the road up at the top. I just don't, I'm missing this somewhere.
Doesn't quite compute.
It don't.
No.
And we pay and pay and pay. And plus they're helping, so I wanna see it get done. We will help with the crossing like we always do with the backfill, and the structures is gonna be really splitting hairs if them are in our road right of way. Because by the time we got our ditches and any utilities are there, we're gonna be splitting hairs whether we can keep that in the road right of way or not. Most of the time they're just outside of it,
I'm going to suggest, though, that the highway pays for,
and I'm okay
because
with
there's
that.
a lot of grade down that road to
And I
that road
understand
spot.
that, and I agree.
Whether it's, yeah, actually, whether it's on the right of way or not. You know, and it'd be my suggestion.
We can help with that, pipe
You
under the
are
road.
suggesting that they pay for the increase, or you're not?
Just pay for the structures, even if they're out of the right of way. The intake, water intake structures, be one on both sides, each side of the road.
And these are the projects that come up this difficult, guys, because most of these I'm not in the loop of. And then all of a sudden, hey, we got this going on, Ben, you need to do this and this and that here. Well, my funds is already allocated for other projects. It's just hard to make everything work within my budget. So I appreciate the heads up. Any idea when that's gonna take place?
No, it's, he's finishing, I think he's in the final stages of the design. Maybe we haven't seen that design, have we?
No, we- he
we've
hasn't
not
brought
seen
it
it
in
yet.
yet.
It's got to go to public meeting, it's got to be
Okay.
bid out, so we're talking,
Probably next year at the earliest.
Oh,
could
at
be,
least.
could be.
I'll
Got
try
a
to
bunch
remember
of
that.
wetland we got to come up through. It's got all kinds of complications.
Because my supply account for the structures and drainage has been hit hard from what we estimated last year during budget. I mean, the price of steel and pipes and everything's just nuts right now.
And he said it wouldn't be that much money. I don't know what he's got in mind for structures, or there's just standpipes. It could be, I'm not sure.
He's done both. We've done just standpipe and we've done structures. It just depends. Structures are nice because you can get in there and clean it out. You
Right.
know where it's at. Gives you a place to access the pipe if you need to for whatever reason, but they are more money.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what he comes. And maybe it'd be a structure on one side, standpipe on the other, you know. We might suggest that.
Is that stopping at 23 or is that pipe continuing on across the field, do you know?
Stops.
Because it might even be,
I'm
depending on
pretty
the,
sure it stops.
we could just set one structure on one side, run a standpipe on the other, even maybe just a crossover pipe over to that structure and alleviate it, save a
Right.
little bit of cost.
Right.
I'm sure Mike will get with me on it, so
Yeah.
we'll come up with a plan.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone? You are a free bird.
Okay.
Have a
back to
good
the
day.
grind. Threw my day off, got me up here early.
Yeah. Stay dry this
They say this
afternoon.
afternoon, we might get bad storms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope not, we'll see.
Yeah, we hope not.
We don't really need no bad storms. Okay.
Thanks, Ben. Catch you later.
I saw that this morning. They must have been there for a while. Thank you.
Okay. Miscellaneous topics. Dust control is done, taken care of. Sherwood drain is taken care of. Better go back up and do payroll. I suppose you better do payroll.
Yes, please.
I will move to approve payroll.
Second?
Motion second to approve payroll. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Claims. Do we have any claims?
We don't have any claims.
No claims. Minutes. Did we get a chance to read the minutes?
Motion to approve minutes?
Second?
Motion and second to approve minutes. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Travel.
Okay, I need to add a couple things.
Yeah.
Okay, so I added, Mike has a Mayor's Commissioners Caucus mileage for the 15th, and then he also has one that I threw in here for the 23rd. It's a Baker Tilly American Leadership Summit. And then Jessica, not sure how to say her last name, from the Health Department. Cheryl, I think, talked to Bill late Friday. She's attending on the 16th a monthly meeting at the Salamone Reservoir. That I'm adding in.
What total on
on
that?
all those?
So Jessica's was nothing. Mike's is, one of them is 57 in mileage and the other is 140 in mileage. One's in Bluffton, one's in Carmel.
Yeah, Jessica had filled it out in time. Cheryl put it in a stack of something and it kind of got buried and lost. And so she discovered it Friday and called me and I said, yeah, I think we could.
It's a 0-1 anyway, so
Yeah,
Right.
I don't see any problem with it.
Motion to approve travel?
I will second.
A motion and second to approve travel. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, miscellaneous topics. I think we're down to the highway build. Do a little discussion on that. We got a special meeting Thursday, of course, on this. On the highway build, anything we need to discuss ahead of that meeting? I know Todd has brought up the suggestion, maybe we do one of the segments at a time, put one out for bid, see what that looks like. There's a possibility we can, I'm ready to reject all bids, if that's what it comes down to, if it's ridiculous. Todd's talked to the mayor. I think we can lease back the highway department if we need to for a certain number of months.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that this morning. I think we can negotiate that if it's necessary.
Yeah.
But
I think the
yeah.
thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think we just need to look at all the options and make the best decision.
Yeah.
I think you got to be able to change direction when situations change. Just because we bought this property and want to build it doesn't mean we have to. A good example is community corrections. They built that because they knew they couldn't get the jail pushed through referendum, which I understand. However, when they came up with the $8 or $9 million price tag and build it under our lighted money instead of the property tax money, they made that determination. They could have changed course and says, you know what, we're not going to build that. Now we're going to build the jail because we have this lighted money. And I think we better make sure we don't make the same mistake and say, hey, this is 8 million, could be 10 million, and then it ends up being 12 million. You know, I know it goes to bid for that, but I think a better way is to take what we already have and remodel it and see how that goes, that building. If the quality is good and it comes in at budget or under or whatever, then we say, you know what, let's do the salt barn. Let's do this, instead of saying, hey, let's just throw it all out there and then get a horrible job and pay a premium. Because like I said, I think 6 months to a year from now, we're going to be doing this cheaper and with better labor, but timing could be off. I don't know. I'm not trying to crystal ball it, but
I think there might be a question arise as far as which project we decide to do, because I'm hearing now that Brent may not be out of there till February.
yeah, that's highly possible.
highly possible. So do we switch and say, will he give us the room like to do the shop?
Oh, sure, yeah.
See, and that's gonna take the field, build that up. And that'd be good to have that in place and see what that looks like. Get a bid on it, see what it looks like.
And maybe that's the better idea, is to build the shop I just like to break it up a little bit. I've had a lot of people contact me too. Roy Walker was one of them. He looks at these costs and says, where does it end? And I said, that's a good point, Roy. I don't know. That's why I think it's a little bit at a time. And that goes back to the CMA versus, do you really need a CMA if you're gonna have a different general on each one of these projects possibly?
Right, right.
I just doesn't make sense to me, but
3, 4, 5, 6% of the project cost, you have to
Yeah.
wonder.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we can piecework this out
Yeah.
one at a time and
Yeah.
get good quality and,
And if the mayor and the council's gracious with us, which I think they will be, that, they give us another 6 months or a year and we pay them a fair amount of rent, and we work with them on some projects to help them out. We all work together. I think that we can make this, we can get by. And like I said, I think there's gonna be some opportunity in the future to do this right,
I agree, I agree.
Everyone's scrambling right now to get stuff done. We have to. And it's like, we don't have to do anything here. We do need a highway department.
Well, and there's no doubt about that. That needs to be done, and I think we just need to look at all the options to do it.
I agree.
And figure out what works best, what's best for
Okay,
the highway department and the taxpayer.
But I'm leaning towards just doing this on 101 contracts, breaking it out. Like I said, here's the shop, bid it out.
yeah, put it out.
I think that makes sense, certainly to look at.
Yeah.
We will run this by the council tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I mean, the funding's all up to,
Yeah,
And here's the thing, this way we're not committing to 10 or 12 million dollars. Because that number we could get up there.
could pop up.
We might commit to 2 million or 3 million on the shop, and say, you know what, that turned out well, let's do the salt barn now.
yeah.
You know what, this was a train wreck, let's wait.
And we already had a little over 3 million budgeted, so.
Yeah, I think it's a good place
that
to
we can
start.
do. I try to do $10 million in
Yeah.
cash out of is a tough nut, and we're way past the window of any reasonable financing situation. The 1% money is gone up in smoke.
I'd like to see that. I think the shop would probably be the best thing to build first, because that's the thing that's needed first. We could always use, storage at the old barns until, we can afford to build,
Right.
where the timing's right, and not necessarily afford it, but the timing's right. But I would like to see us build the shop first
Would you?
and see what
What was our
happens.
scheduled date to vacate
Well,
the old property?
I think it's January 1st of 24, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, if we get the shop built, we can at least start doing the heavy work out of there. Get a lot of stuff moved, and this way we can move stuff a little at a time too.
Right,
Instead of trying to do a mass exodus. You know how that, I don't know if you've ever moved in your house, but we sold our houses once and we both moved the same day, our moving trucks. Boy, was that a nightmare. Is that your box or is that your, how that goes, but, so.
I moved a 10,000 square foot retail store with 7,500 SKU numbers. So I know
Yeah, fun.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
But anyway, I think that's a good idea, Bill. I think we should concentrate on the shop first. Let's see how it goes, and let's keep these numbers palatable, so.
one other thing, Kaufman was gonna go out and check that well. He's gonna
Right.
check the pressure and I assume the flow. We think it's a 25 gallon a minute pump, but we're not sure. He'll be able to verify that.
Yeah.
I'm sure, I think, and pressure check it, so forth, see what kind of condition that well is in. It's never been pulled, but it's, what is the age of that shop?
1990, I believe, or 91.
Yeah.
Probably 30-year-old well.
Then it might be a situation where we want to pull the pump and replace the
Oh,
pump.
yeah.
Possibly, but I don't know. My pump is 43 years old. in my well, so they can last a long time.
Hasn't been hit by lightning ever?
With,
Never been pulled,
Wow.
never been
with
hit.
wash bays and some of the other water usage, you
Yeah.
know, probably want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
One thing I'd recommend looking into also, I have one at home and I love it, is a variable speed pump.
Yeah.
You eliminate your bladder tank completely. You have a 2-gallon bladder tank instead of like in a commercial, you need a 200-gallon bladder tank. That thing's amazing and the electricity usage is substantially less.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to, I don't know if you know how a normal pump works, but it usually has a cut-in pressure of 35 to 40 PSI, so when your water pressure drops there, and then it runs to 65 and shuts off, and it cycles back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, the most wear to a motor is on and off.
Startup, yeah.
And also the startup inrush current. So you're much better to run at a lower RPM consistently than high, low, on, off. But I'd like to maybe, if we're gonna replace it, I'd really like to look into the,
Oh, I think so. I
Variable
think
speed
that's what
pump.
they're doing, most of them anyway now.
are they?
Yeah, a lot of variables, especially, I know the ones on the pump and dump, geothermal.
That's what I have.
Yeah, they're using the variables.
It's phenomenal because when it kicks on, when the geothermal kicks on, that pump's running at a very low speed just to provide that 2.5 gallons a minute, whatever it takes. And if someone turns on another faucet, boom, it kicks up. But you're not having that constant cycle back and forth.
Right.
But
You have more constant pressure.
Constant
like you'd have
pressure.
a city water, actually, it's
yeah,
more.
it's like having city water almost. Yeah. Anyway,
Didn't mean to
Okay.
bloviate on that, but.
All right, anything else on highway? We would jump on down to horse-drawn buggy ordinance. What do we got?
I'm assuming that's probably gonna be for next week. Right, Jim?
Yeah, I haven't received any feedback from anybody because I tried to stay up on my emails while I was gone. I could have missed something.
No,
But I'd like to have further direction from each of you on what should go into it because you're the legislators, not me.
We would do that.
Okay, and the earlier in the week I get it this week, the sooner I can get it done. I'm gonna have some problems because Sarah is leaving starting tomorrow for 6 work days
Oh,
to
not
go to a
leaving.
wedding in California. No, not leaving, no. That would be tough. Yeah,
So you're batching it for a week.
Not,
well, let's just say,
not exactly, huh?
I've got a boss at home and a boss at the office, and the one at the office is gonna give me some freedom.
Okay, yeah, well, let's try to get that done next week. We'll try to get
Yeah,
that to you.
We've got several to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I've got copies of all of them, but what I'll do is let you know which ones I have copies of. As soon as I write myself a note so I can remember.
Okay, that's next week. Next on the list is the 8-hour workday. What are we thinking? What do we want to run by the council tomorrow on that subject?
So far, just so you know, on the council commissioners, I had listed the art plan in case there were updates, the 8-hour workday, and the highway build are the 3 things I listed to chat about.
I think
Yep.
it has to be part of the discussion with council. We can't do it in a vacuum because there's a financial component to it.
No, but we are the executive, so we work up a plan, we give them the plan. They either fund it or they say, well, we can fund it, and we go back to the drawing board. You know, and that's the process, and I think we need to.
Is there a need for me to be at the council meeting tomorrow? I can be, I have marked off Thursday on my calendar to be here. You let me know, I can move my schedule around.
I'm gonna say no, off the top of my head,
That's fine, and that's fine,
Yeah.
I can be here,
well,
it's just a matter of changing an appointment or two.
I don't think that would be necessary, and I'm sure you got some catching up to do, and,
I knew about the Thursday one, so I marked that off right
yeah,
away.
good.
I would say at this stage, you wouldn't need to be. You can
Thanks, boss.
watch us live if you would like.
If I don't need to come, I'm not gonna watch
It
it.
would make some sense, and, you know, I'm not opposed, certainly to the discussion, but I think it makes sense to see what kind of feedback we get from that survey before we make a decision as to what direction to go.
This is true. This is true. Personally, I'm leaning towards the 8 hours, an hour paid lunch, 8-hour workday, 40 hours a week. Just keep it simple, not get it too complicated as far as flex hours, variable hours. The 10-hour day, I think that really runs us too late. And we got other employees involved in that would have
Right.
to,
Yeah.
you know, maintenance and security and so forth. And that's where I'm at. I don't know, you guys, what's your thoughts?
Is there any way to just turn it over to the department heads and let them determine a schedule? I mean, is there, every department's different, that's why I was wondering.
The trouble with that, I think, is the variable, what they might consider the workday, and we got to be consistent through the whole courthouse. We can't have one office open and another one not open, I don't
Well, we
think.
say that, but the courts pretty much run their own deal, whatever they feel they want to do, they just do it, so
They're a little,
Well, we can set the courthouse hours, but, in the office hours, but in terms of the schedule, how they schedule people, I mean, obviously, the department heads know they have to have somebody there from whatever, you know, 8:30 to 4:30 or whatever, but the internal schedule in the department could vary. In other words, you know, maybe we've got 2/3 of the employees that would like to work 40 hours for the extra money, and a third who are just happy as clams with 35 hours. Well, the department head certainly should be able to work with that mix and come up with a schedule that covers those hours and keeps
yeah.
everybody happy.
go ahead.
Okay, given that, what if we set the parameters that the courthouse is open from 8 to 5?
Do
And
what
let
it
the
takes to fill
department
it.
heads fill that.
Yeah, you cover the schedule.
That gives us an additional hour for service in the public, and yet let them have that flexibility.
Because we already do that with the highway department.
Yeah, they get to,
They go to 410s when they need it, they go, I think we gotta rely on our department heads to do the right thing. And it's like they say, well, hey, we can't get our work done. We don't have enough hours in the day to get our work done. Well, go to the 40 hours and see if that saves us from hiring another person with benefits and everything else and get more work done, especially during hours that the public needs to come in. I think we should give them some latitude and to fill the position. Like you said, we're open 8 to 5, get it covered,
Yeah,
whatever you need to do.
5 days a week,
Yeah.
8 to 5.
If there's some overtime every once in a while, I get it, you know, but I don't think that'll be the norm.
well, and I think if we can do that in conjunction with maybe a more creative approach with, for instance, the cross-department training or
Floaters.
letting people, float if you want to call it that. And part-time people give you considerably more flexibility with scheduling. And we also don't have benefits with part-time people. Now, the job market may or may not make that tough to do, but for instance, in Lita's department, you know, she's, instead of a full-time person, she's got 2 part-time people, and it really works out well. And part-time people go up to 28 hours, so that's either 7 or 12 hours short, depending on whether you're working 35 or 40 without the benefits. So if we can kind of combine all of those things together, I think we may come up with something that keeps everybody happy you know, the public, the employees, the department heads. And, you know, I mean, there's obviously being a little adjustment period moving forward, but I think that's certainly has some potential. At least as a discussion point.
Yeah.
Again, I think if you give them the flexibility to run their department correctly, it'll be evident if they're not, or, you know, if they're taking advantage of it properly or not. Put it on them. I don't think we should be the micromanagers of all the departments. They report to us. If they got an issue, then we can sit down and say, hey, what are you doing? You know, we give you this flexibility. What are you doing? So.
Yeah. I like that. I like it. I think that's something to pursue. And I don't know, the question in my mind now is, what do we go to council tomorrow with? Or do we just table it for now? Do we get the survey, or do we throw out these ideas that we've hashed over?
I think we should throw out the idea, but also then say, hey, we're waiting on the survey too.
Yeah.
And then say we want to come with more concrete.
And what's
but-
your input?
Yeah,
also?
but here's where the direction we're kind of thinking.
Yeah.
And if we're going to do the flexible approach, which I absolutely agree with, you know, maybe we should leave that question in about current schedule too, which will tell us how many people are happy with the current
The way it
schedule
is
they have
now.
now, and how many would like to work the extra hours for the extra income. You know, so that gives us a little better handle.
It might.
Fairly,
We're not committed to
yeah,
anything from the survey, but that gives us some information.
Right, right.
it's a fairly significant amount more of income too. If you take, you know, 5 hours, was it 5 hours or 4 hours a week? 5 hours a week at $20 an hour, it's $5,200 a year. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
does that pay your insurance and your,
Car
you
payment?
know, your
Well,
car, you know?
I've got to think out of 250 people, there are some people who would like to work those extra hours.
Yeah.
And again, some who probably are just content with what they've got, so.
Right.
You know, if we
The one
get-
thing they gotta understand though, whether they're working 35 or 40, the pay rate's gonna be the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah.
They're not gonna get extra money through. I mean, there'll be some, okay, leave it to somebody to come up with that idea. That, well, we're not working many hours, we need higher pay rate. Well, no, you don't.
It doesn't work that way.
That's not even close to working that way. There'll be somebody, maybe one. Anyway,
Okay, we need to break for pledge.
Oh, my.
Yep.
thank
Well,
you,
that just snuck
Susan.
up on us.
Whose turn is it?
I think it'd be
Ah, it's-
mine, isn't it?
I believe I did last.
Yeah, it would be then.
Becomes a longer wait every time.
Get along's not getting, huh?
No. Oh,